Well, hey, Dr. Tiff.
Hey, Jim.
You know what I just realized? I didn't hit go live on Instagram, so we are not live on Instagram tonight.
Oh, no.
Oops. No. Dang it. Well, hi, folks. Welcome to our live stream. My name is Jim, and I used to be a type 2 diabetic. And I love saying that I used to be a type 2 diabetic because I used to be a type 2 diabetic. I have completely reversed type 2 diabetes. I'm in remission. If you prefer the word remission over reverse, then I'm in remission from type 2 diabetes. I don't particularly care for the word cure, but at the end of the day, my doctor said that I don't have it anymore. And that's all I really care about. I don't have to take medications anymore. And so I went to TikTok and started talking all about the Feel Great system. And along the way, have met just an amazing amount of people, including people like Dr. Tiff. And between Dr. Tiff and I, we've met a ton of people who have given amazing testimonials. Now, tonight is interesting. If you're noticing this guy down here that's just got his hands all over the place. So Tony actually happens to be one of the people that we came across. It's been a little over 2 years now. It's hard to believe. And Tony also reversed type 2 diabetes, lost a ton of weight. And actually, we did one of these live streams, Dr. Tiff, with Tony as one of our guests. It's been about a year ago, I guess. But tonight, my wife, Amanda, said, hey, I have a person who wants to watch, but she could use a sign. Do we call it an interpreter, Tony? Is that okay? Interpreter. And she said, do you think there's anything you can do? And I said, you know what? Interestingly enough, I do know a guy. And so I think this is kind of an experimental thing here, Tiff, that if we like the way this goes, then maybe we've got an interpreter. So we're splitting the screen in a funny way. But if you have somebody who is deaf, this would be a great live stream to share with them. Anyway, that's enough about me. Dr. Tiff, why don't you tell people about you?
Well, hello, everybody. I am Dr. Tiffany Marie. And, I kind of got lost in the intro. Since we got this new person signing, it kind of distracted me. So I'm glad you explained that because that's so important and such a gift that we have. So anyhow, I'm a double board certified physician in family and lifestyle medicine. And I decided, you know what? I want to be a metabolic health coach and got to train under Dr. Ben Bickman. And I fangirl over him every time I see this man. I just got tired of writing prescriptions. So for 20 years, I was writing prescriptions for blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, and they were Band-Aids. Unfortunately, people weren't really getting better. And when people started getting closer to 50 and 60, getting closer to my age, I realized I don't want to look like that. So there has to be something else. And so that's when I started doing my deep dive and started getting into all these natural tips and tools that we can do. I started getting on social media and ran across a common friend, and she introduced these products, and it has been a wonderful experience ever since. I've been able to see hundreds of people improve their blood sugar, their cholesterol, their blood pressure, and even lose some weight. And I don't have to write prescriptions. I get to help them need less prescriptions. So I'm so excited what I get to do every day and be on here every Wednesday.
Wow. I want to add to that. And you talk about this, and every week I feel like I got to freaking pull this out of you, Dr. Tiff. So you got to, I think you said you got to study under the guidance of Dr. Ben Bickman. Well, you will elaborate on this. What is that? What is insulin IQ? What are you at insulin IQ? Let's build on that a little bit because I think that matters. And you're modest. Guys, Dr. Tiff is modest, and I'm trying to get her to talk about herself a little bit. So
I see. Well, I do consider myself a metabolic health consultant because of that certification in metabolic health coaching. And that's what I was able to get with Insulin IQ, which under the leadership of even Lindsay Venn, for those of you that even follow her, metabolic health professionals, we get to listen to Ben Bickman actually talk about these issues with insulin resistance on a regular basis. But not only that, we learn and we study to show ourselves to be able to coach and help people reverse these conditions that insulin resistance is at the root of. And you can actually, I think there's a 10-day trial to be able to join Insulin IQ as a member to actually get access to diet plans and even see if any of those coaches are appropriate for you.
I love it. I love it. And it's free. Join it. get in on it. And then I want to add a little bit on Dr. Ben Bickman, right? Because I found kind of a new way to kind of, I think, open some eyes. And I don't want to jump in on your presentation, Dr. Tiff, but I want to kind of just sprinkle in something here, a little bit of the Jim sprinkle. Okay. So Dr. Bickman is a professor of cell biology and physiology at Brigham Young University. And more than that, BYU has a laboratory. That laboratory is called the Obesity and Metabolism, the Laboratory of Obesity and Metabolism. Now, Dr. Ben Bickman oversees that laboratory. The man literally grows fat cells for a living. And that's literally what it is. In a petri dish, he literally grows fat cells. Now, he did a video a few months back, and I really suggest everybody give him a follow on every major social media platform. The guy actually has an amazing personality. He's an easy watch. It's easy to learn from him. But he did a video a while back, and I'm going to really dumb it down, I'm sure. But he talked about putting fat cells in a petri dish. And he says, I can give them all of the fuel in the world, all the calories in the world. I can give them whatever. And the fat cell will not grow. It is physically impossible for that fat cell to grow until he introduces one thing, insulin. And as soon as he introduces that insulin, the fat cell grows. And then as soon as he removes it, the fat cell shrinks. Mm-hmm. And so if you are a person who is struggling with your weight, this live stream right here might be one that you're really interested in. Now, we're not talking about the calories, because the calories could change how big it swells, right? So they play together. But if you're struggling with maybe trying to figure out what is that piece, what do I need to do? What is that? Listen to Dr. Tiffany here in a very short period of time. She's going to make all of that make sense. And I don't think I stepped on your toes there either, Tiff, did I? I don't think any of it presentational way. Yeah. Okay. So if you have been invited here, if you've been invited to this live stream, that means that somebody thinks that the information that's being shared in this live stream could benefit you. And week after week, we get people that come into here, and we've had people say that this live stream completely changed their lives. And maybe this is the night for you. So stick around. We are 1 hour long. It's 8:08 Eastern. We'll be done by 9 Eastern. Stick around. Listen to this. Maybe take some notes. More than that, if you are somebody who's on this system and you are absolutely in love with it, like so many people are, this is a great time to share it. You get an opportunity to put Dr. Tiffany in front of those people. So to do that, if you're on TikTok, because we're on TikTok, just hit that little share arrow down at the bottom. If you're on YouTube, you can do the same thing. If you're on Facebook, you can type the little @ symbol and then start typing the person's name, and that will eventually give their name. You can hit enter, and they will get a notification. This is here the next time that they log in. So if you've been invited to here, put your best ears on. If you decide you want to do something about this, just get with the person who invited you. They'll get you taken care of. Okay, so without further ado, boy, that sounds fancy. Dr. Tiff, you're off on me. I'm starting to now that brings you down. Who do we want to bring in first?
Oh, that is such a great question. Well, I'm partial to Espanola. So
okay, Espanola it is. Let's see here. And guys, we are messing with some new scenes here. So I'm almost positive. Yep, I knew I was going to do something like that. We're going to get Tony over here. Look at that, just like that, like a glove. Hi, Espanola.
Good evening, everyone. How are you today? First, I want to see Tony say my name or spell my name in sign language, Espinola. Thank you very much. I do it, but not as fast as that. I appreciate that. So I'd like to thank you for having me on today. I am really excited about the Feel Great system. I have been on it, and it has worked a miracle for me. It has changed my life in so many ways. First of all, it has changed my life. I've lost 40 pounds. That's the biggest thing that I can see. And I was, when you guys first introduced the Feel Great system to me, I was really like, okay, and there were some, oh, as a matter of fact, this might happen or that might happen. I heard something about skin tags, and I really didn't understand what they meant because I I have I had one or two skin tags, but I never really pay any attention to them. You know how you have something like that, and it's not bothering me. I'm not going to bother it. And one day, and I'm not going to get real graphic, but one day I was in the shower and suddenly it fell off. And I was thinking, they said it would. And I was just amazed by that. That just took me to a whole nother level because that was confirmation verification that I was on the right track and doing the right thing for my body. I've never been diagnosed with diabetes. I have been told you're pre diabetic, you're right on that border. This month, you're right on that border, or you're creeping close to the border. But I've had things like obesity and other things in my family and in myself that really needed to be addressed. And so I decided, hey, let me try it. And when Dr. Tiffany came with the idea, hey, try it for 90 days and see if it works for you, I did. And it was incredible. Well, she told me, she said, measure yourself, don't weigh yourself. Well, I'm not one to measure, so I wasn't paying any attention to that. I really got on the scale. Some people like to measure, me not so much. So I did initially do it, but I really gravitated toward weighing myself, and that's when I saw the pounds come off. And then I was thinking, well, if the pounds are coming off, the inches must be coming off. So I wasn't so afraid to measure anymore. And I measured myself, and the inches were coming off. I am super excited. I have added a few things because I hadn't changed anything. I just started doing the system. The intermittent fasting was the only thing that I kind of tweaked in my life. And once I tweaked that and brought in the Feel Great system, everything fell into place. I just enjoy it.
Awesome.
I like how she kind of nonchalantly said, "Yeah, I lost 40 pounds.
I know. Like, no biggie.
No big deal. No big deal."
No biggie.
Well, it's only the beginning of my journey because when I realized that that was possible, I have been a person that yo-yos all my life. I've gained weight, I've lost weight, I have Graves' disease, so that fluctuated my life a great deal. And when my weight, I'm sorry, my life as well, but my weight, it fluctuated my weight a great deal. And since I've started taking Feel Great system, I'm off my blood pressure medications. I do not take any medicine for my thyroid at all. And I feel terrific. The thing I like the most is that I am a part of something that's helping so many people, that is reaching out so many different directions across the world, not just the United States, across the world. Having Tony here, crossing barriers with our friends that cannot speak or hear is just phenomenal, and it's just bridging another gap of people who can benefit from this. So I'm really excited, and thank you so much, both of you, for inviting me today.
I love this. Now, you mentioned Graves' disease, and that's one that hits home for me personally. My mother had Graves' disease. She had Hashimoto's. It was all the stuff, the levothyroxine and all that.
Mhm.
And they would measure the TSH score, and then her TSI score for the Graves' disease. And I guess I could bring it up here, but her TSI score was undetectable, and I'm quoting, was undetectable, indicating remission from the disease. And so my mother, TSI, was undetectable, indicating remission from the disease. So from Graves. So maybe Dr. Tiffany, I don't know much about TSI score. I don't know much about the TSH scores. I'm relatively naive there, but I just know that is one that, I mean, TSI, that stands out to me and my mom. So I couldn't be happier for you. You, I think, are pointed right down the right path.
Did you want to address that, Dr. Tiffany? Because I have something I want to add to that.
Oh, I wasn't putting her on the spot.
No, go ahead. Add away.
Okay, so I did have a visit with my own personal physician, and recently, and this has been recently, and they did test my thyroid levels. Now, keep in mind, when I was about, I would say about 24 or 25, please don't quote me on the age, but it was around that age. I had
About 2 or 3 years ago, right?
exactly. Yes,
He always
are.
doing the most. Doing the most.
They tested my thyroid and they said that it was really, really overactive. To the point my eyes were bulging forward. In my sleep, they would rub on my pillow and just drive me crazy because my lids would not close because they were bulging so bad. So they did a what I knew to be a new process on me called irradiation, and they irradiated the thyroid. So when they irradiated it, it literally, the radiation took it away. Okay, so I had very, very, very little. And as a result, they put me on Synthroid. When they put me on Synthroid, that helped to level my uh, thyroid levels. You know what I mean? And so I believe it's supposed to be something like an average is somewhere between 3 and 4. And mine by itself was under a 1. And then with the medication, it leveled off to a 4. When I started taking the Feel Great system, I felt like I didn't need it, so I stopped taking the medication. And I don't recommend this to other people. I definitely say consult with your doctor, but I stopped taking it because I was feeling the change in my body. And so I did. And when I did, I went to the doctor recently, and my doctor says, your thyroid levels are fine. I did not tell her until after we had the test that I had stopped taking my medication. Wow. She was surprised, amazed, and she couldn't figure out what was going on. I have a theory about it. I don't know what happened. I don't want to even, I'm not a medical person, so I'm not going to go down that road. All I can tell you is my tests were normal. And she said that there is no need to do anything else. Wow. So that was the one thing that I was looking for. The weight has a lot to do, and I know there's a connection there with the thyroid and my weight fluctuating. But I do believe the control in the insulin has an even bigger role in that. And so because I'm controlling that insulin, I really do believe that my thyroid has grown something. I don't know what to tell you, but it's the same now. I don't have the problems that I had. So that's my amazing story. Yeah. And I have so many others I can tell you about my family and my family history, but I don't want to hold up a lot of your time. I know you have a lot of people who want to comment. And
you are amazing. This really was amazing. So what I would like to do, and I think you're familiar with the what am I going to call this? The format? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is I would love to your camera, shut your camera down for a little bit while Dr. Tiffany goes through and kind of explains what's going on. But then I would like, and we've got another guest, and then if there's some time allowed, I will go through some of my stuff. And then I like to bring you back with the other guest. And with 5 of us on screen, this will be really busy. But if people have any questions about, that they want to ask you directly, will that work for you?
Absolutely works for me.
You're a rock star. Okay. Well, then, Espinola, I will see you here in just a little bit.
Thank you.
Dr. Tiff.
Yes.
Cool.
Wasn't it?
That was pretty cool.
Now, I mean, I don't have the science for why she thinks her thyroid's growing back, but let me tell you how much I don't care. I don't care. The point is she's doing better.
That's what I love about you. I don't care. It don't matter. That number on the thing says good. So
I'm gonna do some research on it, but I'm loving her results. Is the bottom line. So
I hear Jimmy Elizondo say similar things.
Right.
So, it's not the first time, and I don't know what I'm with you. I don't understand how that could be, but I don't know. But I mean, Crystal said something kind of like this a while ago. So anyway, Dr. Tiff, you want to explain to us what the problem is?
I do.
And because of the amount of space on the screen, I am going to shut my camera off during this and leave you and Tony. So it'll be like this. So actually, I guess I do that anyway every week. So
okay,
nothing new. So
okay.
All right.
Well, alrighty. Well, I don't know. Can you still see?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So what we're talking about a problem that's much bigger than people probably realize. We're talking about cardiometabolic health. So a Tufts University study saw that only 7% of American adults actually have good metabolic health. Only 7%. That means 93% of us are actually dealing with something in that cardiometabolic family. And we'll go into more detail about what that is. I mean, that includes things like metabolic syndrome. That's 1 in 3 adults. And then, unfortunately, the medication that a lot of providers prescribe to try to decrease cardiovascular risk is a statin, which is the #1 prescribed drug in the U.S. And that only helps 1 out of 100 people not have a heart attack. So that's a 1% ability to help. Well, if you actually make some lifestyle changes, some particular lifestyle changes have been shown to improve that risk for cardiovascular events to 39%. And so when you hear that type of information, it becomes very obvious that we are not bound by our genetics. And so I like to think of our genetics as land we are given. We either till it with grace and we're patient and we're feeding it the right nutrients, and then we get some wonderful crops. Or we don't take care of it at all and we do whatever we want to do with it. Unfortunately, that ends up not being as lovely at all, not with great crops. And so I got tired of seeing people like this lady here with all these meds, and I wanted to be able to help people need less of them. Now, considering the fact that heart disease is still the #1 killer, apparently some of the things we've been teaching about are not necessarily getting to the root. And so that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about something that some of you guys are going to say, what? Where did that come from? No, this is real stuff. And this isn't even new science. Insulin resistance. So that's what's at the root of all these issues, all these problems with cardiometabolic health. That includes your hypothyroidism. That's your low-acting thyroid disease, your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your sugar, type 2 diabetes. When I say insulin resistance, most people think of type 2 diabetes, but that's end-stage insulin resistance, meaning at the end of everything else. So all these other things can happen before then. So what is insulin resistance? Well, we need to first understand what we're eating. These macronutrients we put in our body, what they do is they make your pancreas, an organ behind your stomach, release insulin to be able to get that glucose into the cell to be used for energy. So your carbohydrates break down into a good amount of glucose. And so that's going to make your pancreas get really busy with releasing insulin. And so that's why you see that red spike there. That's from the carbohydrates. It allows your pancreas to have to do a lot of insulin, okay? Now, your proteins don't make your pancreas have to release that much insulin. And your healthy fat, negligible, not much at all. So first, we understand the macronutrients. Then let's look at a typical day for some people. So many people were told, you got to eat every couple hours. You got to fuel your body, right? The fuel we put in our body is like gas in a car tank. So you wake up in the morning, you have your breakfast. And, most of our breakfasts are carbohydrate rich. Your muffins, your bagel, your cereal, your oatmeal, all those are in a carbohydrate family. And that's going to cause a glucose spike. And so it's going to cause your poor pancreas to release insulin because that's what it's supposed to do. So it's not poor. That's one of its jobs. It's doing one of its jobs, right? Well, because your pancreas is going to overshoot a little bit, you're going to have a drop of that glucose. And then a couple hours later, you're hungry again. So you're going to grab another snack. And the things that are easy to grab, they're carbohydrate rich. I mean, how many chicken breasts, 4 ounces of chicken breasts are sitting in a vending machine? Like none. Okay. So the easier things are going to be full of carbohydrates. Then you turn around and you have lunch. And the easy things are going to be like your wraps, your pizza, your sandwiches, carb, carb, carb. It's going to make your pancreas release insulin. And then your snack, your afternoon snack, then your dinner, and then your dessert. And so all day long, your cells have been bathed with insulin. And so this is insulin, this little black figure here. What insulin is doing, I mean, of course, there's a more intricate way on what it's doing, but I like this picture. It is trying to push glucose into the liver, the muscle, and fat cells. Well, in the beginning, before you get end-stage insulin resistance, which is type 2 diabetes, your pancreas is just increasing the amount of insulin it needs. So even though you might be eating every couple of hours or overeating on those carbohydrates, your insulin is pushing in as much glucose as it can get in the cells. And it doesn't care if your cells are down regulating receptors. It doesn't care if your cells are not trying to listen. It is going to increase the amount of insulin. So it kind of bullies the cells into getting this glucose in. Okay. And in that period, I like to call that more of a land of frustration because your sugar isn't high yet. Your sugar is being stuffed into the cells, but you know what is high? Your insulin. And so when your insulin is high, it causes all these symptoms. So the insulin resistance problem has a lot to do with insulin being high in the bloodstream. So you're having cravings for sugar and salty. You're having difficulty losing that weight around the middle because when insulin is high, it is stuffing that glucose into the fat cell. So literally, whatever you eat feels like you're gaining weight from it. I mean, people say that all the time. The skin tags, that's overgrowth of skin. So insulin can act like a growth hormone. It can make overgrowth of skin into skin tags. Those aren't genetic. Or it can make layers of skin that makes dark patches under your neck, under your arms, on your belly, under your eyes. And then I'm going to go into the rest of this too. Fatigue, brain fog. And so that period to where your sugar isn't really high and your pancreas is like bullying your cells to take in the glucose. So only the insulin is high. I like to call this frustration land because you go to your doctor, they check your A1C, they check your fasting glucose and it's normal, but you are exhibiting signs of somebody with type 2 diabetes because you're dealing with insulin resistance. And so your lab comes back normal and they're like, well, your sugar's normal, you're good, but you don't feel good. So you're frustrated. And when you have a good doctor, your doctor's frustrated too. But in this period, what's happening is your insulin is high, like I said, and it's causing havoc. It is allowing your kidneys to hold on to sodium. And when you hold on to sodium, water follows. That's chemistry. That's osmosis. Water follows, that increases blood volume. So that's going to increase the pressure. You're going to have inflammation of the inner lining of those blood vessels. And so that's going to make the inner lining not smooth anymore. That's going to increase the pressure. You're going to have problems with nitric oxide production. And nitric oxide is used to dilate blood vessels. In fact, it's behind the medications that we use for erectile dysfunction. So nitric oxide isn't working well and it's not dilating the blood vessels. You're going to increase blood pressure. And then it can do the same thing. Well, not the same thing, but cause more issues with the liver. So it causes the liver to make more triglycerides. It causes the liver to make more of the problematic LDL particles. So not just the LDL-C. When you get your lipid panel, that LDL reading is the LDL-C, the calculated LDL. That doesn't fully give you a great picture. So part of that number includes the buoyant particles of LDL, meaning like a beach ball. It bounces off the inner lining of the blood vessels, doesn't really cause any trouble. It's the LDL-A particles. They're small, dense particles that can get into the crack of those blood vessels. And that's where it causes things like heart disease and strokes. Well, when insulin is high, it also makes the ovaries make cysts. It promotes weight gain. It causes hair loss, hair growth on the face or in places where it's not supposed to be. And it disrupts menstrual cycles. So much so that it's the leading cause of infertility for women and ovulatory infertility. Menopause. So yeah, this is a term I kind of made up myself, but like I was talking about how nitric oxide isn't allowed to function well, that affects this. And so you have people who have trouble with erectile dysfunction. You're men. You have low testosterone because some of that testosterone is being converted to estrogen. And that is actually making these man boobs. That's not something you're supposed to get just because you have a dad bod. You're dealing with insulin resistance, regardless of what your A1C says. Now, it can also affect your brain with dementia, with Alzheimer's. That's literally type 3 diabetes now. And your migraines, the up and down sugar raises and sugar drops actually can trigger these migraines. And then the other part of this, which I do like to talk about, because I think people don't even see this correlation, insulin resistance, because when your fat cells are getting insulin resistant, they release cytokines, they release interleukin 6, tumor necrosis factor. Those are inflammatory markers. So that fat becomes not benign. It becomes like an endocrine organ, a hormone producing organ. Okay. And so you don't have to have a big belly for this. This is just the fat in your visceral fat. So you can be skinny and still have these fat cells doing this. And so chronic inflammation goes with insulin resistance, goes hand in hand. And what happens is you get problems with the amount of bacteria, or you get the mess up of the distribution of the right bacteria in your gut. That would be gut dysbiosis. You can get some yeast there. We have trillions of bacteria in our gut. That's called the gut microbiome. But this inflammation affects that. And then it also affects the lining of your gut, allowing things to leak out that aren't supposed to. Those bacteria in our gut are supposed to break down what we eat to remove the toxins, remove the things that we aren't supposed to be taking in, and expel it as stool. Well, if you have a leaky gut, that stuff is coming out into your abdominal cavity. Stool, toxins, bacteria, viruses. And the other problem with this is when that inflammation is high, it impairs T cell function. And T cells' job is to tell the body what not to attack. Well, when it's not working well, your body doesn't know what to attack. And so this stuff is in your abdominal cavity and your body's like going crazy trying to attack it. Well, it kind of also attacks you. So when it attacks the bones, you're looking at rheumatoid arthritis, even lupus. When it's attacking the gut, you're looking at things like Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, the brain, multiple sclerosis, and I can just go on and on. Autoimmune conditions are when your body's attacking itself. And to be honest, there wasn't really a good understanding why this was happening. We knew the gut played a role. We have doctors who've been figuring that out. So starting at the gut has been saving so many people from those horrible medications and regaining their health. Okay, so 5 things you can do immediately. And this is what I like to talk about on my lives to empower people to do the things to take back control of their health. Well, one would be doing a low glycemic index diet. And really what I do, instead of telling people what not to do, I tell people to focus on particular things, trying to make sure you're getting your protein. You want to make sure you're getting your protein because it helps you to be 70 and be able to get off the floor. Okay, so you don't break a hip and end up going to the hospital and not coming out. Those types of things happen because we aren't getting enough protein. We aren't doing our resistance training, which is number 3. We do need that, especially my ladies who are okay with doing all the cardio, doing the Zumba, doing the bike. We need the resistance training too. And then no processed carbs because nobody needs to eat those. I mean, we barely are giving our animals processed foods anymore because we figured this out. But when you look at all the diets to where people succeed, even using these tools, the biggest common denominator is avoiding processed foods. Nobody needs to have that. That is not helping us. And I think it is hugely behind why we're in this whole epidemic of diabetes, heart disease. And I just made that up. Nobody calls heart disease an epidemic. But the problem is it's still the number 1 killer. And having us with these processed foods is not helping that. And then fiber first, because fiber can dampen the effect of sugars. So that way, when you do eat these carbohydrates, having something to decrease that spike will allow your pancreas to get a break. And the easiest way for your pancreas to get a break is to stop eating. It's to do some sort of time-based eating to where you aren't snacking or you're missing a meal to prolong that period. And I'll go into fasting in a little bit. So the processed foods, like I said, the other issue with them, they're addictive. So many people have sugar addictions, and that whole carbohydrate giving you a big boost with the glucose, well, it actually spikes your dopamine. And dopamine is that feel-good neurotransmitter that we see elevated in times of addictive behavior. And the other macronutrients have not been shown to cause this problem. So you have people literally addicted to sugars, feel like it's calling their name and they can't stop eating them. And then you have the fact that our carbs aren't having the fiber there to protect them, because I just said the fiber helps dampen that effect. And so now we have things like the white fluffy rice, but it doesn't have any of the bran that we need. It doesn't have any of the endosperm. I mean, it's just a whole bunch of a germ. And so now we aren't having what we need to protect us. And why do we need the fiber? Because it helps decrease the inflammation, and it really gives our pancreas a break, and it allows our cells to become more insulin sensitive. And so when you're dealing with insulin resistance, you want to be able to respond to insulin appropriately. In fasting, one of the big things you're trying to tap into when you are doing fasting, even if you just do a 12-hour fast, because I was talking to someone about this today, If you stop eating at 8 o'clock at night and 8 o'clock in the morning is your first meal, that's 12 hours of fasting. There's still great benefits there. But if you can skip a meal and get to the 16, 17 hours, then you can get into a stage called autophagy, actually found by Dr. Osumi in 2016. He got the Nobel Prize for it. And this is where you get enhanced immune system. This is where you get a cellular detox, so to speak. You're clearing infections, you're clearing pathogens. And so you're able to get rid of broken parts of the cell that aren't serving you and able to make super cells. We also see things like neural regeneration, okay? Gut regeneration. So when we look and we talk about all these things, considering how hot this is, on social media, on TV, how can GLP-1s help? Well, GLP-1, particularly, it's the hormone that actually tells your brain you aren't really hungry, but at the same time, it slows down how food moves through your gut. Well, we actually make this in our small intestine. We actually make this hormone. But unfortunately, we have not been responded to it. Now, I haven't seen a lot of studies to explain it, but there is a difference in people who struggle with their weight and people who are healthier individuals. There's a difference in the amount of GLP-1 that both of those people produce when they're introduced to carbohydrates. So Big Pharma figured something out and they said, okay, we got to do this. We got to get a medication that's going to help boost this GLP-1. So it binds to a receptor, pretends like it's your GLP-1. And so the ones everybody's talking about now, Ozempic and Wegovy, I mean, we've had some other ones out for a while, but those are the shots people are referring to now. And then the question becomes, yes, these things are out there, but are they worth the cost? And what do they do in the long term? Well, 40% of the weight loss that happens with them is from lean body mass, which is your bone and your muscle. And then you have some other serious complications. There was an article that came out earlier this year talking about how this medication itself accounts for a lot of ER visits. And that, I mean, which is kind of crazy. It's crazy. A medication that we're taking is actually sending us to the ER. I don't love that idea, especially not with these serious complications. I mean, I don't want a gut perforation because we talked about leaky gut. We don't need holes in our gut, people. We need our gut to function appropriately. And then when you do stop using them, you end up losing so much muscle and you actually shut down your ability to make muscle growth, which is a problem, which is why now they're trying to eat more protein, why they're trying to do resistance training, but the studies aren't fully clear if that's going to be enough. So then what do we need to do? It also decreases cravings, but over 2 years, what it does with the cravings comes back. So clearly we need to do something natural is the point, okay? We need our microbiome working at its top function. So we need something to feed that. Well, great thing is we have a wonderful fiber matrix that can do that, to feed that quite differently than just eating veggies. It adds to what we can do. And then the chlorogenic acid in the tea, the yerba mate extract that we drink, not even a tea, it's actually a drink, does so many things. Reduces glucose absorption of the gut, improves glucose uptake in the muscles and the fat cells, which is huge, okay? Because when it's high in the bloodstream, we need to get it out the bloodstream, okay? It reduces inflammation, oxidative stress. That's what actually kills us and increases our risk for heart disease. And so with knowing that, I feel like a superwoman every day. And I like to empower all my people to feel the same way. And I hope with this information that does empower you to understand you have control and you can actually take your health back. So I'm literally a doctor who's tired of writing just prescriptions. You can follow me on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. That's it. That's all I got this week.
That's all you got.
That's all I got.
You just gave us a pretty solid education. We wanted this one. What am I doing? There, that's the one we went for, right? That was amazing, Dr. Tiff, as usual. Break it down for people like me. So I appreciate it.
I'm glad you appreciate that. I try my best.
I know it's what you wake up for in the morning. You think, what can I do to make Jim happy today?
Right.
Right. Okay, so I want to introduce BJ into here. And I'll be honest, I literally met BJ right before this live stream started. So what am I doing? There we go. That's what I want. I think that's what I want, right? No, we wanted this one. Hey.
Hi, BJ. So happy to have you.
Nice. Thank you for having me here.
I'm just playing. This is like,
okay.
What was that game show? Celebrities? So, well, they were up in the boxes. That's what I'm doing. Now, there's the real celebrities. So, hi, BJ.
Howdy.
How are you?
I'm great. And yourself?
You know what? I'm very blessed. I'm living my best life. So, BJ, I want to ask you just a couple questions. Where
Okay.
were you at when you came across this product? As far as your health, your physical health, your mental health. Where were you at with your health when you started, and where are you at today? How long has it been? Give the details.
Okay. I started out having high blood pressure probably about 15 to 20 years ago. And, I was fairly young when this started. I'm 53 now. And I had test after test, would go to the ER every year several times. At one point when I went, my blood pressure was so high that it wouldn't even register on the blood pressure cup at the hospital. They ran me through the ringer as far as with my heart. They did heart cath. I've had several stress tests. They come to a conclusion, thought that I had a hiatal hernia, so I had a surgery 10 years ago to fix the hiatal hernia. Well, my symptoms went away for about 3 months, and then they began again. And it's just been an up and down battle with my blood pressure. My normal blood pressure then on a normal day was 156 over 109 was normal, which is absolutely terrible. And I'd go to the doctor and they'd check my blood pressure, and I said, "Oh, that's normal." And they's like, "No, it's not." They wanted to put me on all this medicine. I would take it. I felt like crap on it. I don't like taking medicine. I never have. And then back in January, I had gotten sick and had developed a cough. And the cough was like a chronic cough. I coughed constantly. It was constantly eating cough drops, just it would not go away. And they said, "Okay, we're going to look back and check and see if this is your hernia again." So they actually sent me to St. Louis 4 hours from home to have some tests done. I drove up there that day, done some procedures, had to come home, had to go back to finish up another procedure, and they ruled that out. And they said, "No, it's either lung or heart. We don't know for sure." Well, I had been watching several people on TikTok, like everybody does at night, scrolling through your phone, trying to unwind. And they were talking about the Feel Great system. And I thought, you know what? Doctors don't have an answer. I have spent thousands and thousands of dollars, this all this time. How many years has this been? And it's time for a change. So I took the leap, started taking the Feel Great system, and since then my blood pressure is back to normal. I have more energy. I don't wake up at night having night sweats, and I just feel awesome. My husband, actually, I have started him on it about a week ago. He had his yearly physical, and his A1C a year ago was 6.2, and this time it was 9.6. So I didn't give him the opportunity to choose to take it. I told him he was going to take it because, we had to get this under control. And I knew by hearing other people's testimonies and everything that this is what we both needed.
I think the term is voluntold.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Yeah, you're doing this.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I did. Yeah.
Yes, I'm doing that now, right?
Yeah. He's like, "What?" I said, "Don't even ask. Just do it. Just do it."
So your blood pressure was 150s over the 109, 110.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Every day. Every day. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And it's normal now.
It's normal now. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm looking over here on TikTok, and there's a gentleman on TikTok who's been one of our testimonials, Keith. He was our one. He might have been on the first one of these, Tiff. I'm not sure if he was the first guest testimonial or one of. Keith had high blood pressure for like 47 years.
Wow.
And it was like 2 months normal, like 47 years. So that is super cool. Super.
That's crazy. Yeah, I even drove myself one time. I called my husband. He was at work, and I said, "I think I'm having a heart attack." And he said, "What?" And I said, "My chest is just killing me." And he said, "What do you, we live out in the middle of nowhere." And I said, "I'm going to drive myself an hour to the hospital." And he's like, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yeah, I think I can make it there." But then I got there, my blood pressure was out the roof, of course. And they immediately thinking, "It's hard, it's hard, it's hard." But
Wow.
they ruled everything out and they had no answer for me. And I thought, well, you know what? I need to take control of my own life, in my own health. And this is what I'm doing.
That is awesome. Okay. And you're getting quite a bit of love in the comment section. Okay. So same thing, BJ. If you don't mind, I'm going to shut your camera off for just a few minutes. I'm going to kind of race through how to use the system, and then we'll bring you back out for a Q&A if anybody has any questions directly for you. Is that cool?
That's fine.
Dr. Tiff, do you have anything you wanted to add to that?
I do not. I just love your story. I love it. I'm so happy you shared that, BJ.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. We'll bring you right back out. Thank you, BJ. Okay. So I guess I got the big box now. So, Dr. Tiff, you talked briefly about some side effects that were associated with the GLP-1 receptor agonists. And, I never really worked out what I'm going to say on this live stream because I figure I'm like the smallest piece here. So, but you said something that kind of got me thinking, and I do this a lot on live streams on TikTok, because I'll ask people, gastroparesis. Dr. Tiff, can you give just a 30-second snapshot of what gastroparesis is? This is paralyzed stomach. I mean, what is that?
Well, so your stomach is a muscle, right? So it contracts, and that's how it gets stuff to move. So in gastroparesis, it's paralyzed. That would be a simple way to explain it. So it's not moving things the way it should, and so food gets stuck or food sitting there. And as that sounds, that's problematic.
And it's quite uncomfortable.
Yes, because it's getting bigger. And it's not supposed to be big. You don't feel pain from internal organs until they start bumping up against things they're not supposed to bump up against.
Now, there's not really, it's a lifelong condition in many cases, right? In many cases.
Yeah, I mean, type 2 diabetes is known for causing that too. But unfortunately, there really isn't a medication that has been shown to be helpful. But we have some people that have actually had some great results just using these products.
Well, and we had Sheena like 2 months ago, I think. Sheena reversed gastroparesis. But to that point, I like to ask the question, if you were told, hey, there was if you went on to one of the GLP-1 receptor agonists, like Ozempic or one of these, and you were told there was a 1 in 1 million chance, I think a lot of people, myself included, might say, yeah, I stand as good a chance of winning the lotto. I'll take the odds. I'll take the odds on that. Yeah. I'll take the easy button. I don't know. I'm just going with it. I'm being real. If there was a 1 in 100,000 chance, I might think twice, hey, that's the county that I live in, that's 2 or 3 people. I mean, it's still a long shot, but that's it. But if we got to 1 in 1,000, if the odds, and so I want to ask the question to our audience, and this is definitely a thought-provoking question. I would like to see the audience's answer. If there was a 1 in 1,000 chance that you would get gastroparesis, would you use one of those medications? If you knew there was a 1 in 1,000 chance, and if you guys could just give me an answer in the comment section, yes, no, maybe, And then as I dig a little bit deeper, what if there was a 1 in 100 chance?
Mm-hmm.
And when it gets down to 1 in 100, we start really thinking like, I don't know if I want to do that. So Stephanie over on TikTok is saying no. That was a pretty quick no. And a whole bunch of no's here on Facebook, Vicky, Jennifer. And so where I want to go with that is this particular study right here. Okay, so this was published in February 2024, and glucagon-like peptide-1 receptor agonists associated gastrointestinal adverse events. So this is a cross-sectional analysis of the National Institutes of Health, all U.S. cohort. So this doesn't really provide causal evidence, but it says, hey, there's something maybe that we want to look at. So of the people that they looked at, which was over 10,000 people, 10,328 adults, they found 5.1% of them got gastroparesis. That's 1 in 20. And I think that's a big number. That's a real big number. If there were a 1 in 20 odds of getting that gastroparesis and something you were going to struggle with for the rest of your life, and if anybody would like, that PubMed ID is 38399414. I would encourage you to go do the research yourself. Go read it. It does not establish, a causal tie, but I mean, it certainly says that, hey, there's maybe something there you want to look at. And you know what, if you still decide after having looked at that, hey, maybe I want to do that medication, then good on you. But I think it's important to at least know that little thing's out there. There's something out there.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair? So with that in mind, the other thing I wanted to talk about was the PDR. And so, Dr. Tiff, I wanted to bring up the PDR because I haven't talked about that in quite a while.
Right.
So this is the physician's desk reference. More specifically, this is the prescriber's digital reference. It is it's part of the physician's desk reference suite of goods. Now, we love our Dr. Tiff, and we love our Dr. Midgen Brown, and all the doctors that are here. Lindsay Venn. We love Lindsay Venn. And Dr. Tiff, you had 9 years of school. As brilliant as Dr. Tiff is, I think it's unreasonable to expect that she's going to memorize every single side effect, every single contraindication, every single dosing consideration for every single drug that's ever been invented. And maybe you've done that, Dr. Tiff, but I would assume you got better things to do than memorize everything. And so this PDR is a place where medical professionals like Dr. Tiff, like your nurses, your nurse practitioners, your physician's assistants, your pharmacists. We had Dr. Amanda Yu, a pharmacist, on with us last year. They would go to the PDR to look up information about commonly prescribed medications, things like Ozempic, things like atorvastatin calcium. And what I want to do, just for the sake of time, I'm going to put something like Metamucil into the PDR, and you will see no results found. And the reason I bring that up is because, of course, Metamucil will not be in there. It's just some fiber stuff you find on the shelf at the local grocery store. However, Unicity Balance is in there. And Dr. Tiff, if you wouldn't mind real quick, what does this mean to you as a medical professional, the fact that this thing's actually listed in here?
Well, it does give it more credence. And unfortunately, all of your supplements, we don't have a good organizational body saying this is good, that is good. But seeing this in the physician's desk reference does put me at ease. It does. And that's why I felt safe with using these products.
So to that point, both of these products, both Unicity Balance and Unicity Unimate, and in fact, an additional 17 products from Unicity are in the physician's desk reference, prescriber's digital reference, whichever one you want to call it. It's a part of the physician's desk reference suite of goods. They're both in there, and there are, in fact, 19 different products from Unicity in there. So Unicity is a science-based company putting out a food-based product. Now, how do we use the products? I'm going to start pushing the accelerator here. How do we use the products? When you order the kit, you're going to get Unimate and you're going to get Balance. Okay? In most cases, you will get 2 Unimates and 1 Balance. Now, the Unimate is the tea that Dr. Tiffany's been talking about. It's a yerba mate extract. It will help with satiety. It will help kind of get rid of the food noise. While you're fasting, it kind of just gets rid of the food noise. The coolest thing I think about it is you just get some long, consistent, steady energy. If you feel like it's difficult to get going in the morning, if you feel like your mornings are just awful, start drinking Unimate. That will change almost overnight. The other thing to it is it helps induce ketone production. So there's been research on that. More than that, Dr. Tiffany's mentor, Dr. Ben Dickman, has now published research on it. It was peer-reviewed and published. And that research suggested that it increased your body's ability to burn fat. It made us a better fat burner. In addition to that, Dr. Bickman said that it increased our GLP-1 production by up to 70% during a fasted state. And in fact, let me play that really quick because that's a cool clip.
That I'll be sharing at a meeting in March in Las Vegas is that this yerba mate supplement called Unimate also increases GLP-1, we found in this experiment we did, the GLP-1 levels went up by about 70% in a fasted states, which is pretty considerable.
So there's that. And then there is this published research by Dr. Ben Bickman on Unimate. This was published in October of 2023. You will notice he is the man on there. And if we scroll down to the materials and methods, we will see it was, in fact, Unicity's Unimate. Now, this research right here suggested that it made us a better fat burner. And keep in mind, who is saying that? A guy that oversees a laboratory of obesity and metabolism. He literally grows fat cells for a living. He's saying that this thing makes you a better fat burner. So how do we work this? First thing in the morning, you drink your tea. When it's gone, you drink your second tea. Balance. Balance is a fiber supplement. Balance, we're going to take immediately before our heaviest meal. And by the heaviest meal, I mean the one with the most carbohydrates. So Balance has been clinically proven to lower cholesterol, lowers glucose by 20 to 28%, blood insulin levels by 13 to 27%. It lowers the glycemic index of all the test foods that they put in front of it. It's actually got more than a dozen clinical validation studies on it and 4 separate patents. This is not like the other stuff. So the system costs $159 per month. That gets you 2 teas per day, 1 balance per day. That's 30-day supply, $159. The way I like it to break it down is $2.25 for a tea. We drink 2 a day. That makes it $4.50. That equals $135 a month. That's just how maths, right? $135 a month. When you add in the fiber, that costs about $24 more per month. So the fiber supplement reduces the risk for heart disease. $24 a month. It's kind of a no-brainer. Okay, so the thing is, Unicity says that if you try these products consistently for 90 days, they guarantee satisfaction. They guarantee satisfaction. I'm willing to bet that you're going to be like Espinola or like BJ or like Tony down here or like any one of the other people, myself, who's just had an amazing experience on these products. If you don't, ask for a refund. They'll give you all of your money back. It's such a no-brainer. But what they are guaranteeing is that you're going to lower your A1C, you're going to lower your cholesterol, you're going to lower your blood pressure, you're going to lower these metrics that you're hoping to get a hold of. If you don't, ask for a refund. Okay, it's that simple. They do accept HSA and FSA. Dr. Tiffany, what have I missed? Have I missed anything?
Nope.
I do know that this live stream goes across the pond. In fact, we have, boy, Dr. Tiff, I was looking at the metrics the other day. We have about 20-some thousand people watching us every month. And that's just crazy. And I know that we go across the pond. There might be a slightly different variation of the process. Maybe it's 2 fibers and 1 Unimate, but it's the same 2 products, same practice, just the emphasis might be on another product. So if you are interested in the products, get with the person who referred you here. They will tell you exactly how to order. It's a referral-based thing. They'll get a $10 product credit for referring you. You'll get on your way. If you stumbled across this live stream, because we are on like 15 different platforms right now, if you stumbled across this live stream, just get with either Dr. Tiffany or myself. We'll kind of point you in the right direction, okay? So what I want to do, we are up against the timeline here. I want to bring in Espinola and BJ. I'm going to do like this. Ooh, I like the way that worked out. So this is an opportunity for anybody to ask any questions at all for the entire panel. Do you have any questions for Dr. Tiffany, BJ, Espinola, myself? Hey, even the sign language guy over there, he's a pretty knowledgeable dude himself. And while I'm waiting to see if anybody does have any questions, Cordy Wade says, love you guys. And I think I'm going to speak for everybody else. We all love you too. Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to go through, while we're waiting for some questions, I want to ask a question that I ask every single week. And I'll start with BJ. BJ, there's a lot of people who are sitting on the sidelines saying, no. This is too good to be true. This is snake oil. I've been burned before. No, thank you. BJ, what would you say? You got 30 seconds to talk to that person. What would you say to them?
I've been in the same boat as them. I've done all these different types of diets, whatever, and you just got to do it. You will not regret one part of it. You will feel amazing. I highly recommend it to anybody that would try it.
Hard to beat that. Espinola, you gonna follow that?
It's hard. I would definitely say you have nothing to lose and everything to gain, including good health. It's amazing, and you feel great. You really do.
When I first started talking about this, I thought it was the corniest name. I was like, God, who came up with that? It couldn't be more fitting. I mean, what a perfect name. And then
Yep.
more to that, I want to just add in something to that. It is the Unicity Feel Great system. They're guaranteeing you will feel great. But, their slogan is Make Life Better. And I kind of want to build on that really quick. If you are struggling, if you're sitting there and you kind of are, like BJ said, kind of just like nothing else is working, and I feel like I'm just losing the battle. If you feel like you're helpless or you feel like you are hopeless, you don't have to. There may be something here. You got nothing to lose, everything to gain. Give this thing 90 days. Dr. Tiff, what say you?
I'm going to say it like I say every week. There are too many people sitting at home struggling, reaching out for anything for an answer. And so this is a natural option that is changing lives. So it becomes something that if you were my friends and family, that I say you need to look at this. I had to see my father die after his third stroke, wanting something natural 20 years ago, and I knew nothing, which is why you see me on here talking like I have nothing else to do, because I care that much about anyone else that's in the same boat. So if that's you watching this or watching the replay, and you don't want to take your meds, you feel horrible, or you feel like the meds aren't doing enough, why not look at this option?
Dr. Tiff, that was amazing. Oops, I accidentally hit that button. Well, we love you right back, Cordy. Okay, ladies, I'm going to let you guys out of here. I'm going to wrap it up with Dr. Tiffany and Tony. Tony, brother, I really appreciate you. We'll definitely be in contact. I guess we're going to take feedback. Does our audience, did they like the addition of Tony in here? I'm going to go with that, Dr. Tiff. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a fair.
Of Tony in this, and if so, say keep him or get him out of here. Oh, Lisa on TikTok immediately said yes. Immediately. No hesitation.
Oh, I love that.
Okay. Lisa says keep him. I guess she likes Tony.
Go Tony. Tony's got a fan.
Okay. So you can give Dr. Tiffany a follow, Dr. Tiffany Marie on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Am I missing anything, Dr. Tiff?
No, I mean X.
Trends,
Okay.
You can find me as the Healthy Pitmaster on basically every major social media platform. Guys, reach out. If you got any questions, reach out to the person who brought you here. If you stumbled across this, reach out to Dr. Tiff or myself. We'll get you squared away. Dr. Tiff, we'll see you next Wednesday.
Yes, see you guys next Wednesday.
See you guys.